What is up, guys? Jeremy here, and welcome to a tutorial on how I make my tweak videos. Basically how I do the screen capturing, the blur effects, all of it I'll have in this video. It's going to be a very long video because this is not exactly easy. I've just had so many people ask me, how do I create tweak tutorials like I do, or how do I record in that style, and basically how I make my videos. That's really what the question is how do I make my videos? So I'm going to go through everything on how I do it. I'm sure there's many different ways of doing this. This is just the way I do it. First off, we're going to talk about the hardware involved, and then we will get into the software side of things later in the video. So hardware-wise, now a little bit of background before I get into this tutorial. I do have two gaming channels. I have kind of a Call of Duty based gaming channel. I'm sure a lot of you know of that. I think I'm at like almost 24,000 subs on that channel, so a lot of people know of that channel. And then I also do have a brand new Minecraft channel that I really haven't done too much with, but I do have big plans for it. So I do have two gaming channels and then this tech channel. So with the gaming channels, the hardware that I use to screen capture those games is involved with how I record my iPhone. And I actually really like this style. It's kind of a new style. A lot of you subscribers would know, that I've kind of switched it up a bit, and I have this new style for video. So hardware-wise, now I'm going to make a schematic, or I already have made it. It's a very simplified kind of picture to help you guys understand what's going on hardware-wise on my system. So this is basically how I have it set up. I'll explain each part of this. Basically, the way I record my iPhone, to be simple here, is I have my Apple TV connected into my Elgato game capture. So this game capture card here is what I actually use to capture all of my Xbox gameplay, Minecraft, whatever it might be. Anything that is HDMI based can go basically plug into the Elgato, and then it comes out the output HDMI, and it goes into a monitor. So just think of it as like an HDMI extension, and then it basically plugs via USB from the Elgato into my Mac Mini. And then the Elgato has its own software to actually, edit the screen captures and all that. So we'll get more into that in a minute. So from what I know is you don't really have to have an Apple TV hooked into the Elgato. You can get a Lightning to HDMI connector, I think. So basically, you could really just plug your iPhone instead of an Apple TV. You could plug your iPhone directly into this Elgato, and it should display it. I'm not 100% sure on that. Of course, there's gonna be something weird with it actually being an Apple product, HDMI to Lightning connector and all that. But I'll leave everything linked down below. Everything from on Amazon that I can find. Like the Elgato is on sale on Amazon. I'll look for the Apple TV on Amazon, which I'm sure is on sale as well. And then if you don't want to actually buy an Apple TV to do this, there should be like I said, an Apple Lightning connector to HDMI, which will allow you to display your iPhone that way, which might be a cheaper alternative for some people. And I'm sure, like I said, there's many ways of doing this. So this is just how I do it. All right, so I'm just going to run through the schematic here. So first off, we have my Mac Mini, or it could be a Mac Pro or a PC with Windows. It could be whatever system you're running. So my computer to my Thunderbolt display, which I do all my work on. And then I also do have a BenQ gaming monitor. So basically, like I said, the way that this works is it goes from USB from the Mac Mini into the Elgato. And then the Elgato is basically just a capture card. So your HDMI from your Apple TV or from your Xbox One, whatever it is you're going to capture, goes from there into the Elgato, out the Elgato to the monitor that you're using to display it. So I also do have my BenQ connected into my Thunderbolt via Thunderbolt to HDMI connector. So I can use this monitor for gaming and also an extension or an extra monitor for my computer itself. So that's basically how this is going to work. I hope that this schematic kind of helped you out a bit to understand a little bit. But let's get into the Elgato now. So now that you know how the hardware is set up, Here is the Game Capture HD. This is the program that comes for, or you download for your Elgato. It's its own basically big program here. I'm not going to do a tutorial on how all this works. Just keep in mind that obviously my Apple TV is being displayed here, and you can record. Like I could capture this screensaver on the Apple TV if I wanted. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and take my Apple remote, click on menu, and go to the menu so it's not in screensaver mode. The Elgato does have, I would say, probably like a 5 to 7 second lag time. So whenever I do an action on my Apple TV, about 7 seconds it's displayed on here. Same for on like Call of Duty. There's just a 7-second delay in between the systems. So we got our Apple TV up, and then on my iPhone, all I do is I go ahead and pull up Control Center, go to AirPlay, select on my Apple TV, turn on mirroring, and click done. So here is my iPhone. So we can just go into here, and you guys can see what this looks like. So there you go. I do have 2 Apple TVs here in my house. So you're just mirroring your screen on the Apple TV basically. So here is my phone. This is basically the way I start the tutorial. So I get my iPhone displayed on here, and then also on the Elgato here down at the bottom you can see the commentary button. So we'll go ahead and light that up. So it is recording my voice right now. So I'm having it double recorded, as you can see on the game audio right there. You can see my blue icicle or my blue microphone levels right there, which is not like, this is instantaneous. Each time I talk, you can see it's kind of jumping around. And then if I stop talking, you guys will see that there's like a 7-second delay, like I said, on the game audio right here. So watch this. So there you go. So you can see how that works. All right, so let's just record a quick tutorial on my iPhone. I guess this is just for this video purpose. I'm not actually making a tweak video. All right, so let's just go ahead and wait for that to end. What is up, guys? Jeremy here, and welcome to another tweak video. In this video, blah 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 blah. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just talk as if I'm making a tweak video, and we'll go into settings. I'm gonna kind of dink around on my iPhone so that you guys can see the blur effects, how they work when I actually edit this video. I'm gonna go ahead and exit out of settings. We can go into, I guess, Twitter. If you guys ain't following me on Twitter, be sure to do so. Link is in the description. And that's probably good. I'll go for another few seconds here. We're at about 37 seconds of a recording. I'll go to, I guess 45 seconds should be good. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later. Alright, so that literally is what I just captured. So now after I have captured my tweak tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and shut off the commentary so that this isn't jumping all over the place. Alright, so we go into edit, and this is where all of your screen recordings are stored, basically. As you guys can see, I do have some Call of Duty stuff above that, blah, blah, blah. Those are actually videos I gotta do for the other channel. But anyways, once I have my tutorial, basically, my screen capture tutorial, I'll just go ahead and right-click on the video. I'll reveal it in the Finder. The Elgato does save some files for that video. You got your commentaries, your game audio, you have a screenshot, and then here is the actual video and audio all put together in one. So I just take this and I go ahead and I drag and drop it onto my desktop, and then we can close out of that. And then I technically, at this point, I would usually rename this file to whatever the tweak name is. I usually do like the tweak name and then edit, so I know what video is what. So we'll just do like tweak name like that, just tweak, and then I'll just do edit after that, so I know that this is the raw screen capture. It's not the finalized tutorial that I upload. So once we're done with that, that's all we needed the Elgato for. That's our screen capture. We're all done. So now we're gonna get into the video editing itself. So like I said, I'm sorry guys, this is a long video, but a lot of people are asking me how I do this, so this is how I do it. All right, so you're gonna need more of an advanced video editing software. I use Premiere, Adobe Premiere, and I absolutely love it. There's a little bit of a learning curve with it, with any kind of advanced video editing software that's to be expected. So let's go ahead and let's just open up Premiere, let it load up here. It's gonna take it a second. All right, and I'll just make a new project, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yes, yes, yes. All right, and here is Adobe Premiere. Okay, and I usually just kind of like to keep this centerized or in the central portion of my screen, and then I take the raw tweak video, and you can just go ahead and drag and drop it into your timeline here. Now, I'm not going to really do too much of an Adobe Premiere tutorial. If you guys want me to do actually like tutorials on how I use, you know, video editing, like Adobe Premiere in specific, I guess, if you guys want Adobe Premiere tutorials, I guess let me know down below. But this is just how I use this video editing software to do what I do. So, of course, if you guys are using a different program, this is going to vary from program to program. So here we have our timeline. This is just that screen capture. As you guys can see, there's audio on the right-hand side. You got your basically your preview window up at the top where it shows the video, and yeah, it's pretty simple. So we can just drag along, and this is the video that I captured for you guys. Pretty simple. So I basically just pull in the screen capture, and then I take and I pull in it again, and I go ahead and I put it behind it. And then with this one, I will highlight the video, and as you guys can see, you have a video track, which is V1, that's video track 1, and then you have audio tracks, so that's audio track 1. So what I do with the second capture here is I'll right click it and I do unlink. Basically that's going to make it so that you can delete the audio or delete just the video and keep the audio. It basically unlinks audio from video, as you guys can see. So here's the audio, but we don't need the audio, so that's why I do that. So I just have it highlighted. I'm just going to click on delete and delete it. So we'll take this video, which is the screen capture with no audio, and the way that these tracks work is the track 1 is the very bottom layer. Basically, track 2 is a layer higher. It's basically layerized. So if this was a different, if this was like a different screen capture, and I were to put it over the top of this one, it would be that screen capture with the audio of the first one, if that makes sense. So basically what I do here is I'll just lift this up one track and drop this down below it. And you guys are going to see why I do that in a minute. Why do I put a duplicate video track below that? So the next part I do is I expand all tracks so I can see the audio waves, so I know what I'm working with. So basically what I'll do here is I will take the razor tool, which is going to allow me to cut up the video and audio, and I just hold shift and it allows you to cut everything. So as you guys can see, that just keeps it on, you know, linked tracks. I could do just that video, but we'll just shift it, and then I usually just splice it right at the beginning of the tutorial, and then I'll take these and delete them because they're not needed. Just go ahead and highlight all of them so you can move them all uniformly. Go ahead and click to unselect them. So the next thing you guys are going to need, or the next thing I use, is a iPhone 6 overlay, which is basically a PNG image of an iPhone 6 frame. I made this myself. If you guys want a tutorial on how to actually make an iPhone frame, I guess I could do that as well in a separate tutorial because this is going to be long enough. So here is my iPhone 6 overlay. I named it 2.0 because it's an updated one. You could do this with basically any color iPhone. You could do it for the iPads, different variants of the iPhones. It's just a PNG image. So I put that on the top track up here. As you guys can see, there's the iPhone frame over the video. Now obviously this needs to be resized to fit, so this is the one that the one that's connected to the audio track is the one that is going to be displayed in this iPhone. Now I have all of my sizing and everything all memorized for this, so basically I'm just going to go ahead and scale it to 84%. So as you can see, it's lined up real nice and pretty. And then I'll actually go into video effects here, and then we will go to transform, and I'll crop this video as well. So we'll drop that onto that, and you can see we can crop it now. So left is 34%, enter, and then right is also 34%, enter. Now I know it's kind of hard to tell, but it is lined up in the iPhone frame. The edge of the video is right in the frame as well, so that you don't have any weird lookingness to the this track. So the next thing I do is I go to the duplicate track with no audio, and this is going to act as the background blur. The background of the iPhone. It keeps everything really cool looking. You don't obviously have to do it this way. I do have different overlays and stuff of different styles, but this is just the way I like to do it lately because I think it looks really, really cool. So we'll go ahead and go to motion for this video, and we're going to blow this up a lot. This I don't actually have memorized. I just basically resize it. I think it's around like 350. Yeah, 346. So you can see the edges of it, and we just fill up the whole video about like that. So we fill it up. So there is the background basically, and as you guys can see, this background, as we scrub, let me expand the frame here for the iPhone, and as you guys can see, it's mimicking everything I do because it's two of the same video tracks. So the next part is we have to add a blur effect to this track so that the background is blurry and it looks all really cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of transform, and we'll go to blur and sharpen, and I like to use the Gaussian, I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce it. So we'll add that to that track as well, and I like to blur right around like, I don't know, 30%ish. So there's our background blur. Boom, that is looking real fresh. So we got our blur effect, and as you guys can see, if we go through here, it has a really nice effect for a screen capture. Basically, it kind of color matches the whole thing. As you guys can see, it looks really, really nice. So that's basically the core way of the core way that I do it. That's pretty much it. I mean, everything else that you add into here is all optional stuff, like my intro. I will do some more editing on this just so you guys can see, I guess, how I do intros and other overlays and outros. I could show my outro as well because that is pretty neat. So there we have our core video. That's, I think, the one thing that everyone wanted to know about is how to get that screen capture, that background, the iPhone frame all in one video. So I could render this out, and you know, actually I could just, you know, cut off at the end so that it's just a nice sweet tutorial. But like I said, I'm going to add a couple more things in here so you guys can see how I do that as well, just in case you guys are mimicking this. So the next thing I do is I am going to go ahead and add my intro. So I'm just going to go ahead and highlight all the tracks to move them all uniform so that you don't lose timing on anything, because once you screw up timing, and if you have a big edit going on, you'll get confused. So we'll take my intro, which I have on my other display, and I go ahead and just put that in front, go ahead and highlight all this, line it up behind that intro. The intro can be on any of these tracks because on the timeline here, it's before all of that. So if we go back to the beginning, if I click play here, as you can see, here is my new intro, which a lot of you love, which is pretty cool. So we'll just go ahead and let this play, and then you guys will see how this all works. So we will get into more tracks here once I add links and stuff on screen. So here we go. Obviously, you can see that it's playing my audio. I'm not sure if this has been capturing the audio as I've been talking. I probably should have looked into that before recording this tutorial. So we got our intro. Now what else do we want? Let's say right about at this point in the timeline, we want to add a little Twitter PNG with our Twitter username. So go ahead and go to the different tracks here. Go ahead and right click, add tracks, add one video track, click on OK. So I have another image here. Let's do the Twitter PNG image that I created myself, of course, as you guys can see here. Let's just make it so it's in this portion of the video, and then we can go ahead and click on that, and then I actually just double click on that PNG, and as you guys can see, it allows me to move it around. Also resize it if I want, make it a little bit smaller, about like that, and then I don't know, I'll put it like, I guess like right in here somewhere so it's nice and noticeable. You guys can see that. And then obviously if you want to add a transition for that coming in, we can go ahead and minimize this stuff and do video transitions. I'll just do a slide, and then we'll do slide, put that at the beginning of that so that it will slide in. Let me go ahead and mute this audio track just in case it is recording it. So go ahead and click play. Boom, you can see it slides in. And then if we want it to dissolve away, we can do a cross dissolve so that when it's at the end, it'll just fade out, as you guys can see, real nice looking. So that's a way of adding PNG like images basically into the video. I guess I could get into the outro now. So to do the outro is kind of unique as well. Basically, I'm going to go to the end of the video. I'm going to zoom in a bit here so I can see it a bit better, and basically just zooming in on the tracks. So you zoom out, zoom in. I'm not sure if you guys really know exactly how Adobe Premiere works, but maybe you're learning something while you watch this. So my outro is just another PNG image. So if I put it there, as you guys can see, but to get, you know, it easily readable, I guess you could say, what I'm going to do is go ahead and make that shorter. And then I guess right when I say later at the end of my video right there, like I did, we're going to go ahead and we're going to chop up this track and the overlay. Since the main background is already blurred, we don't need to do that. So let's go ahead and select on this track here, and we're going to want to blur that out. So let's go ahead and just minimize these so we don't get confused. We got our blur. Did not mean to do that. Command Z to take back mistakes. Let's take the blur, drag it in, and I will go, let's see here, to about right there so I can see what I'm doing. So now if I blur this, as you can see, the iPhone frame is blurring. So I put that up to about, I don't know, 30%-ish again. And I like to click the repeat edge pixels. As you guys will see, the top and the bottom of the iPhone will repeat its pixels so it doesn't make it smaller. So there you go. So it's kind of uniform still. And then we're going to need to add that blur effect to the actual screen as well. As you guys can see, we have a lot of different effects adding up onto this screen, so we can go ahead and bump that up to 30 as well. So we have 30, so now it looks all nice, uniform, and blurred out. We can do repeat the edge pixels just to make sure it looks good. So as you guys can see, it goes from that and blurs. Then the next thing I like to do is add a transition to the blur. So we can get the transitions back out here, dissolve, cross dissolve. I'll add that into both for the iPhone 6 frame and the actual screen capture, and I'll make it a little bit shorter, just like so. And then if you want the outro to actually blur in with that, you can take another cross dissolve, add that to the outro part here, and basically just kind of do it maybe about like that would look kind of cool. So we can go ahead and let's just play this so you guys can see the outro in effect. So there you go. That's basically how I record my videos. That's about all I'm going to cover in video here. So you guys can kind of see what this video looks like when it's all done. Of course, I do add little things here and there, other stuff. You can add, you know, text if I'm doing like a top 10 tweaks or something like that. If you want the tweak names, or, you know, it's all up to you on how you want to create this. So that is how I create my iPhone tweak tutorials or app, basically anything that I got to screen capture my iPhone with. This is how I do it. Of course, there's lots of different effects, different things you can do. This is the core concept and how I do this. So I hope this all made sense. I do apologize for this being a very long tutorial, but it's not exactly easy. Again, if you guys want to see tutorials on other stuff, on how I make my thumbnails, how I made the iPhone 6 frame, pretty much anything, if you guys want tutorials on it, just go ahead and comment down below. I'll be watching the comment sections very closely for the next couple of days, and I will try and get you guys more tutorials if you would like them. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was kind of straightforward. This isn't the easiest thing to explain, but if you guys did enjoy it or it helped you out, definitely throw me a thumbs up. Again, like I said, all of the links for everything I use, the Elgato, the Apple TV, everything I'll leave a link for in the description. Again, it's from Amazon, and it'll be the best prices I can find, the on sale prices for the products. So be sure to check those out. But anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next tutorial. Later.